Are we good? Are we alive? Do we have power? Yes, excellent. Hello all, or no one, as the case may be. We're back on, and hopefully we're going to be finishing the foam parts of our shoe toppers today. Just a quick update. We are making some shoe toppers for a Lizardman LARP character for a friend of ours, and we've so far been making the feet with the foam to go over the top, and putting on some scales over the toes and lots and lots and lots of foam dots that goes over the actual foot. We've been doing quite well up until a bit of a technical problem screwed us up this week. But I think we may have it sorted. We have been making sharpened tubes out of plastic and copper, and of course using proper hole cutters to cut out our foam circles, which has been a bit hit and miss, as the plastic tube seems to go dull almost instantaneously. Of course, the weather hasn't been helpful, considering it's been cold and miserable for the last few weeks, and I haven't wanted to be in my workshop for more than, actually 5 minutes at a time. So yeah, hopefully everything will go well today and we won't have any issues, but we can't really hope for that, as it would be a bit of a miracle. Now, no one wants to hear this, but my health hasn't been 100% either. I'm not going to go into details, but yes, we haven't been very good today. So we may not have a very long stream, but as usual, we're hoping for a nice laid back opportunity to make things out of foam, glue, whatever I can be asked to get together. Okay, let's see if, as usual, even the very first one, after I just sharpened it with the knife, yes, cuts like or something that doesn't cut very well. Let's see if cutting it with the craft knife will help. Yep, but obviously cutting them by hand doesn't really help with the curvature. Let's try using some scissors. I organised everything so it all has a home. The problem is I've forgotten where that home is. Yeah, that seems to work. And at least the cutting it out gives me a bit of a line to go from. Obviously, being scales, they don't need to be perfect, because arguably perfectly round doesn't necessarily make ideal scales. But they're not exactly... Being a lizard, lizards don't... They do when they don't have scales, kind of thing. I suppose it's scaly skin, but it does make cutting each scale out much slower than if I could just, you know, thingy, job's good and done. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get something better for the Bluetooth on my computer, because the quality is absolutely terrible. I have to get an actual card. Just a nice relaxed stream. is this music? Probably at some point gonna have to get some a better selection. Probably tomorrow's job. Okay, that should do the big ones for the time being. Now the see if the copper one works better than the plastic one. I may have to, if I do this again, when hindsight is involved, go out and invest in some short bits of differently sized pipe to use need more foam. Yeah, that'll do. Hopefully that'll be enough. He said, not at all believing it for a second. Obviously, the more of these you get in the tube, the harder it is to cut more. Yeah, that looks like we've got enough of those. Oh, it could also be because these have already got glue on them, that they don't want to come out of the foam. Not an issue. Okay, and the guarantee I'm going to need a whole lot more of the tiny little ones. And there we go for those. Just give us a second, let me just do a bit of tinkering with the oh. Okay, so I suppose there we go. Yeah, no, that's better. And finally, oh no, I breathed out. Oh! That's because of the glue. Just pick out the yeah. It pulled on the glue that's on the foam, and decided to, well, stick. Boom, boom. Nope. We don't want to cover you in hot glue just yet. How about we lower you a little so you can have a better look. That'll do. Oop. Just explodes. So should you ever need to make thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of little dots, I say the best way of doing it is with a drill. Although a hole punch would be, you know, one of those ka-chunk things, that'd work. Unfortunately, I don't have one. I guess one of those in hindsight things. Okay, we've got up to the top. We're just needing to fill out this area. Really? So here we go. Selection of dots. And no fear. Or at least just a genuine desire to get this over and done with. Because this isn't really the most entertaining stage of the process. This is actually kind of the dullest. I'm really looking forward to the point where we can, you know, start coating it and giving it its final layer of latex and skin and whatnot. And it'll start actually looking close to a finished product. But yeah, once we've gotten past this stage, it should be fun, or at least slightly stickier. Continuing with our theme of randomly squidging dots all over the place. No particular order. This is sort of around the area when we'd start sort of spreading them out. Yeah, maybe just a little bit further. Oh, bleeding hell. Yeah, we'll just start thinning them out as we go across. To give the sense of them, but we just want to, much less dense. Here and there. That way we kind of cover more area. Because really, it's going to be, this is going to be the sort of sides and back of the foot. It's where least people will be paying attention. So it can be just a little bit looser. Bit more random. Go. Almost done on this side. We've still got to do the smaller dots, and they're not at all frustrating. But I think we're definitely done on this side. Yep, and the last one, yeah. There we go. So we've got just got this little bit to do and we'll be done. Huzzah. may need to cut out just a couple more to make sure that we're not kind of properly running out. I'll just use a few more of the smaller ones. Just to kind of emphasize that they're getting further apart. But we are definitely running out. Whatever are we going to do? Because we don't want to have to go to all the effort of cutting out more. That'd be too much of a hassle, wouldn't it? Can I get away with it? Can I avoid cutting more larger dots out? I think I can actually. Huzzah! That's the big ones done. Now we've just got the smaller ones to do. Joy! It's mostly just kind of going in there and sticking them in, finding a hole and filling it in. Always trying to avoid the look of symmetry. You definitely don't want it to look like you just sort of all the big bits are filled with a small dot. It needs to look random. Natural. You know, the holes are filled, at least the gaps. I've got something occupying them, but it's you know, you're not just putting one right in the center, but every now and again you do want to put one right in the center. Obviously, if you create a pattern, that's what the eye will be drawn to, and you don't necessarily want the eye to be drawn to anything in particular. Well, that's my theory anyway. Just randomly. Oh, hello. We appear to be having a problem with our main... We good? Hello? That's worrying. I only just bought that cable. That should be working perfectly. Damn it. So where were we? Yes, here. Are you still cool? Cool. Let's see if we can give you a bit of a... See, this is a good example. There's a big hole there. I think I'm going to leave it empty, simply because sort of it's unexpected. You know, normally I'd put a dot in it, but leaving it blank creates sort of a bit of randomness, while jamming this one full of them. I want it to be uneven. In effect, natural. So these are the odd things that go through your mind when you're making stuff. You kind of weirdly obsess about the details as you're doing the details. At least that's what I do anyway, when my mind's not thinking about totally different things. Let's have one there. have to see how to improve the white balance for this, to be honest. Ooh. Just a couple round here, just to make it seem like, you know, we know what we're doing. There's methods to our madness. Because of course, there definitely is. We know what we're doing, honestly. Oh. Cool. Put a load in here. This deserves it. You see, sort of random. No specific order. And another one there. Maybe some around this toe area. We're getting close to the end of the dots, but we're fine to use them up now. I may want to do some dots on the other side actually. One more there. I think that's it for this side. Maybe one there. Ah, perfecto. Yeah, maybe a couple here and there. Just one just right in the centre of that gap there. Right, oh. And, yes. One down here. Grande. No, no, no. I think I've got one more, oh, two more dots left. Ooh, three. Just spread them willy of the nilly here and there. One, two. Good noticed. Back to this one. Oh. We're not as thick on these, so let's just thicken that up a bit. Go, and our last dot can go right there. Huzzah! Perfect. Oh, there we go. And there we go. Ha ha! Now let's just lift you a little. Go. Okay, next let's just give these another bash with the heat gun. That's to get rid of any unwanted hot glue and stringy bits. It's also good to kind of seal the foam. It's sort of, when you play about with the edges of the foam, it kind of ever so slightly melts the surface and gives you a nice clean top surface to work from. Let's go with this one again. Quick bash with the heat gun. And heat my hands a little. Perfect. Okay. There we go. And that's the dot done. I'm pretty satisfied with how that's looking, to be honest. I'll put those somewhere safe. Okay. Now what we want to do is, I cut this out originally quite sort of random and a bit sloppy. So what we want to do is just straighten up these edges a little. Make it all look intentional. Okay, so don't want to cut that much off, do we? No, I think we do. So just okay. Just a good right angle on that as well. Just yeah, that's much better. Just note for any budding foam smiths. It may cut easy, but it kills blades. Absolutely annihilates them. Expect to have to either get rid of them quick or often, need to sharpen your blade a lot. Yeah, and what we just want to do is give it a quick bash with the multi-tool. So, just to sort out those edges, get them nice and smooth. Just there we go. Nothing too serious, just a My Dremel seems to be making odd noises. Oh well. I think we're done. We just give them a bash one last time. Just around here. There and there. Maybe around here as well. Just that way, just to get them wanting to curl round. Yeah, because ultimately they're going to be doing that. Yes. too high, I think. There, yes, perfect. Okay. The next stage is sort of, now we've got them pretty much perfect. And looking relatively symmetrical, still with our right and left on. What we want to do is start coating them. We're going to be using latex for these because it's a lot more hard wearing and durable than anything else. Obviously you can use Plasti Dip and other sort of stuff, but I find Plasti Dip can, unless you have a hell of a lot of coats, and that's very expensive, you can end up, it's not that strong, rigid. So you use latex, but it's not ideal as a surface to stick on. It can have a habit of pulling off, not sticking properly and whatnot. That's why you use some thinned down contact adhesive. It's basically exactly the same stuff that I have here. I just add thinner to it. I've already got this mixed up, so I don't need to make any. And you just get a cheapy brush and liberally paint it on. Ooh. Pretty much everywhere. You can be relatively dirty with this. It doesn't need to be the greatest coat in the world, because most of this is the thinner. So it's going to kind of disappear off, and you're going to end up with a thin coat of glue all over the piece. Let me just as far as consistency, obviously the contact glue itself is quite thick, but you want to thin this down until it's kind of like, let's say the consistency of varnish is probably what you're looking for. And obviously I'm going to daub it all over the place. Once getting all the nooks and crannies. It also helps to kind of seal the edges of your piece. All the bits that have been glued together. You know, anything that's kind of higgledy-piggledy like this. So coat the edges of the foam. Obviously that needs painting as well. Everywhere that you're covering with latex and more. No need to worry about being too gentle, too delicate at this stage. This is just the sealing coat. Give it a nice kind of sickly yellow colour. Lovely. See, it's just sort of pretty easy. I'll just stick that in the drying. Yeah, I think maybe turn on the radiator. And now with number 2. Prefer to use cheap brushes for these. Because painting with the glue tends to annihilate the paintbrush. Well, actually, one thing I did forget is to, well, get back there now. Do it in order, do it in order. Do it properly. Okay, we're not just going to be putting latex on the outside. You want to put some on the inside as well, because if it stops there, it'll likely just come off very easy. So you do want to latex on the inside around the edges, therefore you want to put the glue everywhere you're going to be latexing, which means just a nice liberal coat of our glue. There we go. Now back to this one. Where were we? Oh yes. Gluing. Oh, and of course it should go without saying, well ventilated area. You could use a mask. It all depends on how much you don't want to get high on the fumes. The fumes from contact adhesive isn't that pleasant. You don't need to be, once again, sort of even, because once again, you don't want it to be symmetric and even. It's random and all natural. Once again on the inside. inside of the edges. So the foam has something to stick to, or the latex, should I say, has something to stick to. Okay, and that's done. You could leave them for a couple of hours to dry, and then start with the coats of latex. Let's have a look what time I've got on the thing there. Oh, just over an hour. Yeah. Did you ever get cold in the workshop? A hot gun is really useful for heating up those fingertips. I'll just show you, give you a close-up. You see it's kind of got a bit of a yellow tinge to it. If you can't be asked to wait, there is always a heat gun. Which is really good at just drying it out. You don't want to get it too hot, or else the hot glue will start melting. Just to speed up the drying of the glue, maybe on your worktop as well. Yeah, there we go. And then we can get on with latexing it. So I think we'll do the first coat of latex now. Generally, I like to use black coloured latex to help us see the bits we've missed. This is pre-mixed. and paint it on with some foam brushes. Now, this first coat of latex is going to be the tedious one. Go on slow. Because obviously these two can turn off now. Because this is your first coat. You're kind of filling in all the bubbles on the surface of the foam. So these first two layers you're going to do slowly and delicately by hand. Let's just drop you a little as we're going to be sitting down again. You want to try and make sure you've got as few bubbles in this coat as possible, which is impossible because bubbles are going to want to form. You don't want these layers to be too thick. As they will dry thick and mess up the details of your piece. This is also where you're going to find lots of little mistakes that you've made along the way. Problems here and there that you need to fix. Maybe you didn't put enough hot glue on, or too much. Painting this is going to be particularly tedious, because obviously we've got lots of little nooks and crannies in between each of the scales. So maybe sort of using the sponge of the brush to your advantage and just dabbing. But you don't want to necessarily do that too much, because that'll leave you with bubbles. So you're kind of doomed, literally. Let me just But once again, there's no right way or wrong way to do this. In the end, it's supposed to look natural. So, as long as it doesn't look too sort of ordered or too odd, it'll be probably fine. To those a bit later. And one of the advantages of using the latex is that it's kind of a glue in and of itself. So I didn't really sort of, when I was sticking down all of the dots myself, I didn't necessarily cover the entire surface with hot glue, but that'll be fine because that'll all be sealed by the latex. Oh, hello. Let's put you there. Oh. One of my dots fell off. I'm going to see if I can stick it on using latex. That'll be entertaining, won't it? Interesting experiment. Ooh, excuse me. Not feeling 100%. Oh. Oh. Excuse me. Oh, the wonders of IBS. We want to try and keep the elastic free from latex, or as free from latex as we can, for as long as possible. That may entirely not be possible, but the less latex gets on it, the more elastic it'll be. So, kind of, you know, hope springs eternal kind of thing. I think the technique that I've figured out is kind of just use the sponge to just sort of dab. So it sort of spreads the latex out and kind of sucks it back up. Now the scales on the toes. And I just sort of get in between them as well. But you don't need to necessarily get everything. Because this is going to be getting quite a few coats. Not as many as if I was making a LARP weapon. But obviously this is going, because it's going to be on someone's foot, you don't want the latex to be too thin or else it'll rip around here. It does need to have some strength and rigidity to it. Okay, and as with the glue, we just want to coat the inside of the piece. Just to make sure that we've got a good coating all around. Oh, no, balls. Not good, not good. It happens though. Fortunately, it's one of the lower layers, so. Oh, bugger, 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 bugger. Let's just. Okay. Take two. Now to help seal the elastic onto the toppers, I'm gonna cover all the way around them where they stick to the foam. That way it'll, let me just give you a good look. There we go. Okay, yeah. Just all the way over the top. There we go. And on this side as well. That'll ensure that the elastic has zero chance of coming off. Okay, and that's the first one done. And now, obviously, we do number two. This has already had a bit of time drying, so I shouldn't need to bash it with the heat gun again. For the record, not all foam brushes, like most things, are created equal. For basic painting jobs, I think the cheapy ones are probably going to be fine. Not that I'm that much of an expert in painting or art in general. Stay there. I'm not much of an artist, to be honest. This isn't art. It's just dabbing. But when you're kind of quite cruel to your tools like I am, and latex isn't that gentle with foam brushes, especially when you're trying to sort of force it into nooks and crannies as much as this is. You're really wanting something that's a little bit better than your average foam brush. So yeah, I tend to get the sort of, I've recently decided to splurge out and get the poly brushes. They're more expensive, of course. They only seem to be made in the USA, which is somewhat irritating. But you know, they're a whopping £1 and change each. But they're better than the generic sort of thousands for a penny you can get from China. But fortunately, I've recently purchased myself a whole boatload. So, you know, hopefully they'll last me 3 or 4 years. Oh, I appear to have accidentally pulled off a little dot. I shall put you there, and there you shall be for all time. Oh, we had another view. 2 views, aren't I blessed? Oh. Just get in this corner. Try not to drop anything. Okay, now the other side. There you go. Now the toes. Because these kind of go over the top of each other, I kind of want to make sure that the area underneath is covered or filled, but just underneath and pull the excess out. So fill in underneath, pull the excess out. Okay. You can see it's kind of, you just sort of pull it down and Almost there. Now the toes, get around the edges. Now the edges. I did this in slightly different order, to be honest, but top lip. And back around here. Come on, don't stick too much. There we go, and once again, the inside edge, just to make sure that it doesn't fray too easily. You could, of course, cover the entire thing in latex, but it's not necessarily needed. What you could do, which is something I'm considering, is to get some just lining material, and once you've done get some lining material and glue it to the inside. that way it will take the sort of bangs and knocks from the inside of the shoes and effectively protect the latex. It's never going to be perfect, but there you go. A slightly more visible lizard's foot. Let me just and we'll just leave it to dry for a little while in our drying room. There you go. Yes, note to self. Getting latex off skin is easy. Getting latex out of hairy hands, nigh on impossible. We'll just pull our latex back, and I think that'll do for today. It's a good 2-hour stream. I hope that was fun. Not that anyone on the internet's ever going to see this, I imagine, but I had fun. Yeah. I'm not going to have fun taking this latex off though. So, thank you very much for whatever. Have fun.